Look at all these people. Awesome. Oh, Nancy, in your car. I'm gonna get you dancing in your car, Nancy. We thought that as people come in, we'll take a few moments to just warm up. It's the end of the day, so you're tired and you're hungry and you need a second wind. And it might be obnoxious music, but we're still going to play it. We're going to do a 30-second dance party as people come in the room. And your dancing, by the way, might be like your finger or like, no. But you might boogie, you might bounce on your chair, you might work out some kinks in your body. This is terrible music, but this is a fun toy. I should turn it on. Okay.
30-second dance party.
I see you. End of the day party. It's been a good long day. It's only 30 seconds. Woo! Look at you all go. Awesome. Ah, nice. Excellent. Good. Sometimes it's good to just let go some of all the stress, and our posture probably needed a little wiggling out too. So we have, it looks like all kinds of people on page 1 and 2, and some people are on camera, which lights us up. It's always our preference to see your faces. And in this presentation, there will be interaction. And so those of you who are on camera, who are willing to wave your hands wildly, get to play games. And those of you who don't want to can sit and watch, but you'll want to, I promise, by the end. Can I start, Allie, or there's still some people coming in?
There are still some people coming in, but I say let's keep this energy up. Let's roll.
Okay, yeah, what is it? Oh yeah, 4:07, let's do this thing. I am Pasha Marlowe. I'm so glad to be here. I laugh through tears so that I do not die crying and dehydrating on the bathroom floor. Any other criers out there? Anyone cry on the bath? Oh, yes, these are all crying on the bathroom floor. I feel you. I spent a lot of moments on the bathroom floor over the past 2 years. It was because I was in the depths of my deepest grief. I will very briefly say that my youngest child became very ill a couple years back. At 11 years old, he was chronically ill and suicidal because of the pain from one stinking tick bite. So watch the tick presentation from day 1. I plead with you. I was scared. I'm still scared every single day for him. I had to pivot everything that time, including my mindset and my career. I still practice as a marriage family therapist and still did my fitness and yoga classes, but I knew I needed to do something even bolder to keep me engaged in life, to keep my vibrations up. So I transformed into a therapeutic comedy coach and ADHD coach because both of those things really light me up. So ta-da, that's what I turned into. I knew I needed to lighten up because the darkness of life kept dragging me under. Can you relate? I had the choice to rise from the ashes. I had the power to choose to laugh through the tears. I found ways to keep my vibrations high, even when sitting in bed all day next to my sick little boy. And then to add to the chaos, 2020, the pandemic began, and I became even more fierce with my desire to help people heal with humor and pleasure, because now, of course, the entire world is experiencing a pleasure deficit. So I created a podcast called Let Pleasure Be the Measure. I wrote a crazy book about expansive sexuality called My Next Husband Will Be a Lesbian. I was like fired up. I knew I needed to experience joy in my core to make it through the grief. And I was starting to feel for the first time in my life worthiness to receive pleasure. And even though I knew that I had to stay healthy to help my son, I did often feel guilty because how dare I find laughter when my kid is struggling to live. Everything was falling apart in the world, it seemed. The ground was moving constantly. And yet, strangely enough, I was feeling grounded as I taught my clients how to heal with humor. It felt kind of paradoxical, but Viktor Frankl, who wrote about surviving the Holocaust, calls this tragic optimism, a hope that our pain and our trauma was not for nothing and that beauty will come from it. He also says that freedom from confinement comes from our imagination. And I don't know about you, but I was feeling stuck in my home over the last couple of years. Not only the 24/7 caregiving, but just not being able to go out and do the things and see the people and travel to the places. So I was feeling stuck and confined. So I had to imagine what it would look like if I focused on joy and laughter. What would that kind of person do? I started to watch and write comedy about the human experience. And my mess became my message. And here I am speaking about healing with humor at this phenomenal conference, wearing mostly presentable clothes, but only from the waist up. Do you know what is really good about a virtual conference? Outside of being able to stay in our pajama bottoms and slippers, we don't have to search for or pay for parking. We don't have to wait in line for the bathroom, which is really handy because pretty soon we're going to laugh. And I don't know about you, but I pee a little when I laugh. But first, we have to learn to play with ourselves. Yes, I did say that. We have to learn to play with ourselves, as in let loose, laugh, attempt to not take yourself so seriously. So are you willing to play some games with me today? This is like the Zoom version of a clap. So, yay, thank you. You're like, not quite sure yet. You'll have to tell me what game before I say. I got like this from y'all. I promise to keep you safe and engaged and to not show you a single boring slide if you promise to keep your video on and turn off your phone. In fact, on second thought, like turn your phone on vibrate and then sit on it. Permission to play and pleasure. You're welcome. And trust me, I know this is all scary and weird. To release control feels very vulnerable. And I have as much trouble with this as anyone. In fact, for 49 years, I was a total stick in the mud. I was stuck in my trauma and anxiety, and I couldn't get out of my own way. I figured pleasure and laughter and play were just not in the cards for me because I grew up in an unhealthy home where the motto was, leisure is laziness and idleness is death. That's fun. Let's put that on the barn board right next to live, laugh, love, right? So now I have on my barn board next to live, laugh, love, my motto, which is be as kind to yourself as you are to others. Because my inner critic, my inner narrative, I just saw Valerie's presentation, which was excellent. My inner narrative or narrator is very, very, very mean. So she says a great thing. She says, fire your inner narrator. I am all for that because I self-sabotage when I'm feeling visible and vulnerable. Like, who am I to empower women to celebrate all of themselves when I still spend too much time criticizing and trying to change myself? Does this resonate with you? Type IS for imposter syndrome in the chat if it does. And then definitely go see Jen's and Valerie's. Both of them, they did really great jobs today talking about imposter syndrome and firing your inner critic. Okay, so thank you all. Yeah, yes, I see it. Now that we've established some trust and rapport, I'm going to be brutally honest with you. And this moment calls for my emotional support puppet, my vulva puppet. I bring her out when I have really important conversations to have with myself. Do I dare share this next story with them, vulva? Yes, it's relatable, sweetie, and it will bring a sense of belonging. So yes, the lengths I go to people please and entertain and impress people just shock me. But I will tell you, even though this was a virtual conference, I still plucked my chin hair and my nipple hair for this presentation to look and feel my best. I even considered waxing, the Chewbacca region, to feel as fresh and as polished for you all as possible. And I talked to this waxing woman about it, and she asked if I wanted to do the front or like all the way up the back. This is a true story. And I was like, what and why? And do women do, wait, what? And she said, once you do it, you'll never go back. It's just so much cleaner that way. And I thought she meant wiping would be cleaner, but I don't think that's what she meant. So I got all nervous, canceled the whole thing. So all natural we remain. And by the way, vulva prefers it that way. You bet your bottom dollar I do, she says. So you see, I'm 51 and menopausal and really out of the loop on things like current fashion and current grooming trends. I'm legit menopausal. I watched that menopausal video presentation the other day. I finished the entire year without having a period, except that one time where I spent a lot of time laughing that day, and I laughed so hard I peed, and then I just spotted a little bit, but that does not count, because I hear that now that I'm officially in menopause, things in my body will start to calm down. Like my stomach might deflate some, and I might be able to see the bits that someday I might groom. I don't know. I might stop caring so much about what other people think, and I'll start feeling the perks of menopause, like Anita was saying. I might even have a sexual rejuvenation. I might start having sex again, at least in my head. I have to admit, though, I was watching Anita's presentation and my blood went cold because she said that we had to use birth control for an entire year after menopause. So after the year of not having your period, she said to keep using birth control. I was quite shocked. And that would be my luck. Like somehow my imaginary new female lover and I would find a way to get me post-menopausal pregnant. That's my luck. That's my luck. So I am just working on laughing at myself and laughing at life. And I tell you, it is making life a lot easier. I'm working on being more curious and less critical of myself. The other day, I found myself looking in the bathroom mirror. Does anybody do this? I have mirror and far glasses. So I'm doing the thing where I'm looking with two glasses and I'm talking to myself and the image is looking back to me. And I'm like, oh, hey, mom, there you are. Sorry for judging you about your droopy boobs and eyelids and the double chin thing and the puffy knees. I get it now. You told me it's inevitable. I know. I didn't believe you. My mommy dearest used to say, Pasha, you'll always hate your body, because she's German and loving like that. And I swore I wouldn't go down that path. Plus I thought I exercise and practice yoga and drink celery juice. So yeah, none of that sagging stuff is going to happen to me until I'm 70. Flash forward just 30 years and I woke up and look like my mother. Has that happened to you yet? Have any of you experienced that moment where oh, there's my mom? Leave it to my teenage son to find the humor in that. It's okay, mom. You still look young and fit. Look, you have a six-pack on your forehead. I did laugh. It's nice to be able to laugh at yourself and each other safely if you know the person and have trust and rapport. I really do still have fun playing with my face, though. I wear these sparkly glasses to humor myself and to distract myself from my dark circles and age spots. We women have to add some sparkle into our lives to make up for the thigh rub and the loose labia rub and our disappearing eyebrows. At least the eyebrows are easy to fix. So I thought. Here is a laughter through tears example for you. Please do not be foolish like I was. I got microblading recently, and when it was done, I was like, no, I don't like it. It's too dark. They're too pointy, triangle-y. And the eyebrow artist says, those are permanent. It's like a tattoo. What? Wait, I've gone my whole life not getting a tattoo because I was worried about committing to something drawn on my body that I had to look at for the rest of my life. I can't even commit to a partner I want to look at for the rest of my life. And you're telling me I accidentally got my first tattoo and it's on my face? So now I will forever look like Count Dracula from Sesame Street. One foolish mistake. This is what I say to myself every time I look at the mirror now. You got to admit, there's some humor in accidental tattooing, and that I would turn into Count Dracula in my eyes when I'm terribly allergic to math. And thanks to ADHD, I also clearly do not read the small print. So there is humor, as far as I'm concerned, to be found in all the edges and parameters of everything. Finding the funny helps us cope with the ups and downs, but it doesn't just happen. We have to practice strengthening our humor muscles. So, have I warmed you up enough? Are you ready to play a game? Woo! That's a little more emphatic. Okay, keep your cameras on. Oh, good, there's more people coming. and stay muted just for now. You're going to unmute in a sec. It's easy. Improv is easy. Like, don't escape to go to the bathroom. I know improv is a scary word. It's just about being present in conversation. And this game is easy. All you need are your 2 peace symbol fingers. It's fun to put it on gallery view if it isn't already, because you want to see everybody's response. All you do is raise 1 finger if your answer is choice 1, 2 fingers if your answer is choice 2. So, question 1, would you rather go your whole life without chocolate or your whole life without good toilet paper? So if you raise 1 finger, your labia desires fluffy toilet paper. And if you raise 2 fingers, chocolate is life. You can raise 1 or 2. Either way, I totally recommend you like hiding good chocolate and hiding good toilet paper in your house. So only good. Ooh, a lot of 2s. Chocolate is life. All right. You were my people. I still have the toilet paper hidden in my bathroom. Would you rather, new question, would you rather go on vacation next year by yourself or with your entire family? So 1 finger if you've just had too much togetherness and you've lost all desire to see your people because they all chew too loudly and fart way too much. Or 2, if you've brilliantly navigated living and mating in captivity and you still make eye contact with your partner. 2. Nice. Okay. Lucky families. I know I see some 1s are like 1 by myself anywhere. Yep. Third and final question. Would you rather 1, hold a private party for your friends at Nomia, the sex toy shop in Portland, or 2, Sogology, which is a tea and foot spa in Portland? So 1, if you're wanting to celebrate the 8,000 nerve endings put in our clitoris that are there solely for our erotic pleasure, or 2, if you're wanting to scrape 2 years of COVID isolation and stress off the soles of your feet so you can fit your shoes again. We have mostly, oh, this is pretty split. This is a split. Yeah. Half of us are at Nomia and the other half are at Sogology. And this is all of what I'm saying is true. I promise you, I'm not even embellishing. I have called Sogology several times this week and they don't even return my call. This, by the way, is like phone. If you were born after 1990, this is the sign for phone. The foot spa won't even let me in. That's how dry and calloused my feet are. Like, I make scraping and ripping sounds when I put on my socks. I need it. Maybe one of you can make the appointment for me and then I'll just show up and use your name. But seriously, do you know what's sad? Most people I know have an easier time talking about their trauma and grief than they do getting silly or laughing. When do you suppose your laughter was conditioned out of you? Something to ponder. Babies learn to laugh at 3 months, no matter what their situation is, no matter what they were born into. It's just innate at 3 months. Kids, on average, laugh 300 times a day. Adults, 5. And I know a lot of adults who don't laugh at all because of the enormous amounts of stress on them right now. But that's tragic. Like, not only is laughter conditioned out of us, but there's so much stress and trauma these days. We're all experiencing overwhelm and a need to numb out. And so I believe we need to heal in community, not just with laughter, but in taking walks and playing games and cooking and creating. The antidote to trauma and stress is community. So I love that we're all together today. It's beautiful to see so many faces, and we're going to take our power back and reclaim our joy and release some stress right now in a 40-second communal laugh off. Now, this works really well if you unmute together and then hopefully mute after, just in case of, kids and dogs and whatever, but I trust you. So hopefully you watched Nancy's presentation on pelvic health. So we're going to do a little preemptive Kegel squeeze so that we don't pee when we laugh in 3, 2, 1. Even if it felt silly and ridiculous, it does relieve stress. It's just one of many, many fun ways to move through the stress cycle. Crying on the bathroom floor is good too, but laughing through the tears is my favorite. I believe there is humor and comedy around the edges and parameters of all situations. And in my work, I call this paradox traumedy. It's like a combination of trauma and comedy. I think they go hand in hand. And I use an equation to explain it, even though my ADHD brain struggles with math. Here is the equation. Trauma plus time equals comedy. Because sometimes it takes years before we can laugh at things, and sometimes only days. Sometimes we can laugh in the moment. But we're trying to decrease the amount of time between the trauma and the comedy, or the ability to laugh about something hard. So can you think of a personal situation that at the time was not funny, and over time you saw the humor in it? Or a sad or scary situation where you found yourself laughing, just surprisingly? Feel free to share it in the chat. I know it's a vulnerable personal question, but feel free to share it in the chat if you're like, yeah, it turns out I laughed at my mother's funeral, or I laugh when I talk about my trauma with my therapist. These are all very normal responses of laughter, and certainly we could use laughter as a defense mechanism to hide our truths. But today we're talking about the kind of laughter that allows us to share our truths and have a greater sense of belonging. I'm going to share with you an even more vulnerable story than the grooming ones, if you can believe that. I like to witness myself as a character in a comic strip when telling some of my hardest stories, because it takes the edge off. It gives me a little bit of emotional distance between the rage and allows me to see the humor when I kind of witness myself. So this is a really good tool and trick. Like I even like when I get into a fender bender or something, I witness myself as if I'm watching a movie, or if I'm arguing with my husband, I witness myself having that argument. So it's something to try. Just coming back to that imagination and curiosity. So here's the story that's going to tie into laughter through tears. A few years back, my husband and I moved from New Hampshire to Maryland. He started a new job in an elementary school, and before I knew it, he started working out. Like he was exercising for the first time in a decade. So when I asked him, what made you decide to start working out all of a sudden? He said, all those years you've been bugging me to work out, and now that I do, you're questioning me? Oh, well, I think I'm supposed to be happy that he was finally practicing self-care, but truth be told, the little voice of intuition inside my head was just worried he was having an affair. Like he had even started flossing. Like that's shady, right? I thought so. Lo and behold, after listening to my intuition and doing some solid online detective work, thank you very much, I asked him through squinty, cartoony eyes, are you having an affair? Imagine my cartoon face is like bright red now. And for a long time, he said, no. How could I think of such a thing? How could I think of that about him? I know, gaslighting, that's another story. Many days after CIA-worthy questioning later, on Valentine's Day, mind you, my dear husband walked into our new house and finally admitted to me that he was, in fact, having an affair. So now picture an arrow through my cartoon heart. He tells me this while handing me a dozen red roses, like as he's saying it. And I said, seriously, do you think a bunch of flowers that are just going to die, like your loyalty, are going to make this okay? No. And now imagine his cartoon self, like digging himself a deep hole. I didn't buy these roses for you. Some woman at work gets a creepy flower delivery from her ex-husband every Valentine's Day, and she was just going to throw them away. So I figured you wouldn't want me to waste them and that you'd like them. Okay, now the top of my head is like literally blowing off as my brain explodes. So that's what I'm worth to you? Another woman's creepy leftover flowers? Did you get me some half-eaten stale chocolates or some used ripped up lingerie too? I'm crying. But imagine word bubbles over my head with like many symbols symbolizing many swears in my head that I cannot repeat right now. And my husband in this cartoon becomes very, very small, realizing his mistake. So small, he's like as big as an ant, and then I step on him. That's the end screen of my cartoon. Needless to say, the next several days, years, very, very, very hard. Did I see the humor in it in that moment? No. But every time I tell this story, especially when I picture the cartoon strip, I crack up, I laugh, I take my power back. And while the heartache is still there, the hilarity shines through, even on Valentine's Days. I think it's possible to do this. It's one of many, many, many ways to deal with all that life brings. It's a gift to ourselves to find humor in the messiness. And I imagine you haven't gotten this far without having a good laugh at yourself. You've laughed through tears before, I'm sure. You've felt how laughter can relieve stress. So are you ready to play another game? Okay, this game is going to require 2 volunteers who unmute and show themselves in front of everybody on the screen. And it's called Yes and. It's not so bad. It's like we're going to share our truths. We're going to just have a conversation. Improv conversation is just like a conversation we'd have in relationship with somebody, where we stay present, we actively listen, we accept their reality, and we respond to their comment with yes and. So I'm going to call on you in a second if you wave your hands. So for example, the first person might say, you know what's annoying? All my necklaces are suddenly too tight for me to wear. And the second person might say, yes, and all my underwear for that matter. And the first person might say, yes, and my socks. I think my dryer is running hot and shrinking all my clothes. And the second person might say, yes, and the patriarchy wants women to keep quiet, shrink, and disappear too. And we might end the scene there. But you might talk about anything. You could talk about what you're having for dinner. It doesn't matter. We're just going to have a conversation. Now that you know what we're playing, who in the audience, waving your hands boldly, would like to play an improv game of yes and? I don't see a single hand. I'm totally gonna have. Is that a hand, Abby? Oh, I think I see a hand. Okay, we have Abby. You're scratching your head. Okay, that didn't count. I almost picked you, Katie Day.
I'll play, Pasha.
Greta, there. Okay, so Abby and Greta, thank you. I'm gonna do something super fancy. Okay.
Bring it on, Greta, bring it on.
Oh boy.
I'm hoping I can find Abby when I meet her. Oh, okay, there she is. Yes. Oh, okay. So here we go. Greta, just make any statement you want.
Any statement?
Yep, just like any statement, and then Abby's job is
Okay.
going to yes and you.
Okay. I've had a really good time today with all of the speakers.
Yes, and I'm sure this will continue on for weeks and weeks after the conference.
Yes. Do I go?
Yeah, you can go while I find you.
Yes, and I can't wait to have a cocktail tonight.
Go ahead, Abby.
Yes, and pajama pants, ponytail, all those things.
Yes, and driving 6 hours back home.
Oh.
Yes, and waking up tomorrow and knowing that we've already been through the hard stuff.
Yes, and planning out what our future steps will be.
Yes, and celebrating the heck out of this moment.
One more. Do you want to finish this off, Greta?
Yes, and realizing how powerful women can be.
Awesome. So good. Yes, you did great. Rocked that exercise. Excellent. All right. Want to see if I can do this. Remove all pinned videos. Cancel. I don't want to mess this up. It's doing some weird things on the Zoom end here. Okay. Oh, and Abby's here too. She's like, I did not sign up for this. Here we go. I will take you out of your misery. All right. So sometimes we could use irony, by the way, just like talking about how bad or how much worse something is, or like if we really dislike something, it's fun to write or speak like how much you love it. It's just a fun way to play with your thoughts in a humorous way. So you could say, I just love that my partner works from home right now. I get to listen to all of their thoughts, all of their bathroom habits. And I no longer have a private moment for myself to play with my Nomia toy. It is a precious time. Yeah. Do you see how you could take something that's true and then just kind of turn it upside down and look at it sideways and backwards and just have fun with it? And this is what I mean by playing with ourselves. At night, I play with myself. I think of word games. I think about like logos I'd like to create. I think about like I'll go through rhyming. I just play with myself because it really is better than me ruminating about all the things that are still so hard. Let's do one final game. This might remind you of our lunchtime connections. It's a commercial. And I'm going to be asking for a volunteer or two to say a commercial just to let you know what's coming. So we talked about a robot at lunch, and it really just sparked my curiosity of what a robot would look like that we could create for all the fed up, overwhelmed women in the world. So clearly we need a robot to help with the emotional load of womanhood, a robot with 8 modes to send emails, hold the phone, do the dishes, breastfeed, walk the dog, clean the toilet, lift the weights, lead us through guided meditations, and help us all sleep. And for you all today on this early Black Friday special, you get this robot for the low price of $9.99.99 or call 1-800-I'm-FED-UP for a discount code. Something like that. So think of something you think womanhood needs. Something crazy, something you actually saw, something that you would like to have on the shelves for yourself this holiday season. And then let us know. It doesn't have to be said like a commercial, but it's more fun that way. Oh, bonus points if you add a jingle. Okay, who wants to volunteer for this one? Ooh, pick me, pick me, pick me. Look at all the hands that are not rising. Everyone's like, actually, some of you are like, I just have a very important call to make. They're like looking down. If I don't make eye contact with her, she won't pick me. All right, Katie Day, I'm sorry, you're just full of smiles and laughter. Can I pick on you? She's so bold.
You can pick on me, but you have to pick on Nancy who's sitting next to me.
Oh, are you next to? Of course, I'm going to pick on Nancy. She's the one who got me.
There we go. Perfect.
Yeah, Jody, put those hands down.
Wait, are you related? Are you like mother-daughter?
No, thank you. Well, it could be. No, remember I was in a car a little while ago, Pasha?
Oh, yes. You drove to see Katie. Okay, I'm with you. Okay, so Katie and Nancy, together or separately or egging each other on or
no, together.
Brainstorm something together of what you think womanhood needs, a product of sorts.
Okay, here goes our creativity.
Or just something
She's
you
raiding
want.
my office right now, looking for
Do we
inspiration.
need special wipes?
She's literally pulling things off of my desk.
Improv technique. Like you don't have to make something up. You just look around your room like you're already the funniest one in the room. Your life is already
You
funny.
need an Eiffel Tower that holds your jewelry. That's what you need in your life.
Wait, you need an Eiffel Tower to hold your what in?
Jewelry.
Yes. I want an Eiffel Tower to hold my jewelry in. How much is
But
that
at
for?
the top of it is a speaker, and the speaker can reach you without making a lot of noise in Paris to lead you in guided meditations and sing you soothing music that helps you sleep all night.
Wow, I want one of these.
And that blocks out the noise. Well, earlier, everybody in our group somebody wanted to have the robot take care of their children. So blocks out their noise. You can self-program what you want to come. All right, your turn.
Yeah, I started with the Eiffel Tower idea.
A noise blocking, child rearing, meditative jewelry.
Eiffel Tower.
Okay. Katie, how much does that cost? How many of my children do I have to sell to buy it?
Only 2.
Really? Okay.
It's a steal. Maybe 1.5 if you get the discount.
I would like to choose to sell my 2 adult children, not the little one who's sick. That would just be mean, because they never call home and they never text unless they have a strange looking poop. And that is the truth. Yes.
We'll take them.
Thank you for that, brave women. I appreciate you playing. I know it's terribly, terribly scary, but the cool thing about all this, hopefully, is that it's reminding you that you are funny. You do have a sense of humor. There is a part of you that's like, I kind of need to lighten up more. Maybe you're a perfectionist, and the opposite of perfection is play. And you think maybe there's a way I can incorporate a little bit more play or laughter or pleasure into my life. Maybe you used to play a lot and now you don't. Maybe you used to do theater or improv and you want to get back into it. Maybe you just want to bring some more laughter into your life, and rather than watching the news, you watch Ted Lasso. That's such a great show. So in conclusion, here's the cool thing. When you start to see the world through the lens of humor and you find the funny in the not so funny, all of a sudden people see you as the funny one and hire you to do a speech at a conference about dealing with humor. They send you funny quotes and memes. They call you when they need a laugh. They invite you out because you have fun together. Not only do you make yourself feel better, but you make other people better. You are helping your family and your friends and your clients by bringing some levity and humor into your conversations. You begin to sprinkle pleasure and fun over top of even your most challenging of days. I call this rupture to rapture. First the pain and then the rising. We can crack ourselves up as we crack ourselves open. And the moral is, you are already the funniest one in the room. Just keep playing with yourself. The end. I'm bowing and you're standing ovation clapping in my head. Thank you all for coming and sharing your laughter and tears with us today. I hope to meet you in 3D one day. There's a meetup walk that we're organizing on Saturday morning, if you can meet in person. And then in my speaker bio directory thing, there's a free coaching call and all kinds of fun, hopefully funny stuff. But I now hand the mic over. I hand the vulva over to Jody, who's gonna.
Am I beside you with it? Actually, this way.
Oh, this would be like a cool thing. Yeah, there. You take the vulva, and there you go.
That would have been freaky if I had pulled that back out of the screen. That would have been just too much. But Pasha, thank you so much for helping us transition the day, because for everybody on this call and for those who may not have joined us yet, the next thing we're doing is happy hour. So when we close this call, go take care of yourself, get some refreshments, grab a drink, come back. We're going to bring this energy into the next call with the board. We're going to be available for any and all of your questions. Come hang out with us. We'd love to hear how your day has been going. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I can't end without saying, check out the exhibitor hall as well. Our community partners in there. Pasha has a booth in there. There's several people on this call I know have booths in the exhibitor hall, and they're tons of fun, and there's offers there for you. And also click on the sponsor banners so you can find out about the organizations that actually help to make this conference possible. These organizations are for you. They are for us. They are for Maine. So we love them, and we hope you love them too. So we're going to end here, and we'll see you in at 5 o'clock. So 15 minutes. All right, everyone, go grab your drinks and come back.
Thanks, Pasha.
Thank you. So happy to be here.
Pasha.
Bye. Thank you.